Well, we're taking a look now at the staying power of the Tea Party movement and its role in the November midterm elections. Yesterday on our show, Fox News contributor Jonah Goldberg spoke about where he believes Tea Party members see themselves on the political spectrum.
One of the things that a lot of us haven't focused on enough in our punditry and our commentary is that a lot of Tea Party people these days will not call themselves Republicans. They call themselves independents.
Jonah went on to say that where we see independents in polls, we should consider this.
A lot of those people are pre-hardcore conservatives, but are so fed up with what they consider to be the Republican establishment sellouts and all of that, different argument for a different day, that they don't call themselves Republicans anymore.
So we wanted to go directly to the source on this. Matt Kibbe is the president and CEO of FreedomWorks and New York Times bestselling author of Don't Hurt People, Don't Take Their Stuff, a libertarian manifesto. And Jenny Beth Martin is chairman of the Tea Party Patriots Citizen Fund. It's nice to have you both. We certainly have been talking a lot about the Tea Party movement in general, Matt, but then we seldom talk to people that can speak for that movement. And so it's nice to have you on the program. Do you agree with Jonah? From what you hear from the folks that you're around, are they associating more as independents rather than Republicans?
Yeah, very much so. And remember, the Tea Party movement was always defined by a set of ideas and a set of values and the goal to take back Washington, D.C. from insiders in both parties. And I think that's exactly what's going on. And it's not just the Tea Party. There are a lot of voters that are getting fed up with the two-party partisan affiliations. They want to see Washington actually focus on the ideas that matter. And at the margin, we are shifting that conversation in a fundamental way. You see a lot of Republicans that used to be arguing that we shouldn't run against Obamacare actually talking about a patient-centered approach now. I think that's victory.
Matt, are you registered as a Republican? I mean, do you put yourself in that box, check that box, or do you check into?
You know, I'm registered as a Republican in the District of Columbia, which is about as lonely as it gets.
Jenny Beth, same question for you. How do you approach it personally? Do you think of yourself more as an independent rather than a member of the GOP? And what are your friends and colleagues saying?
Well, before this movement started, I was active in the Republican Party. I'm not any longer. I consider myself an American first and foremost. And I think what we've seen across in Washington, D.C. is that the parties focus so much on the party and not what's best for America. And right now, we're at a time where we're $17 trillion in debt. It's $50,000 per household. We need to be focused on what we're going to do to get out of that so that we can all have more personal and economic freedom.
So it's good to talk about the philosophy a little bit. A big question, though, Matt, about the impact that you can have now moving forward into this election season and beyond. Time magazine had an interesting article. It says the Tea Party is running out of steam. And it goes on, the first line, the Tea Party is wanting for scalps this year, and continues to say basically that the movement is not taking down any of its top targets and that it isn't as relevant as it once was. Your response to that?
Well, I think you look at almost any Republican running for office today, they're running on our issues. They're running against Obamacare. They're running on reining in executive power. They're talking about individual freedom. Some of them are just talking the talk. I think at the margin, we're not going to be able to win as many of these challenge against entrenched incumbents as we have in the past because there are fewer targets to choose from. But we've endorsed 50 separate candidates, and I think the fact that there are so many intriguing pro-liberty candidates out there running as Republicans is a good sign.
Interesting. So, Jenny Beth, do you agree with that or disagree with that? That really what you've been talking about has become part of the vernacular, if you will, of the GOP?
It's become part of the vernacular for the GOP. It's become part of what even Democrats say. And so we know that the messages that we support, the values that we care about, they're in line with the American people, and they're things that will help candidates win. And there are candidates, just like Matt said, all around the country who support our values. You can look at Tuesday's special election in Florida where we endorsed Kurt Clausen. He won. He supports the penny plan, and he has a pro-growth economic plan.
Interesting. So you're seeing your presence in certain races, even if it's not directly the battle that perhaps we saw in 2010 between the incumbent and someone new on the stage that's representing the Tea Party movement. Matt, a question about money, if you would. What is it like out there? Are you able to raise the same funds that you were raising at one time in 2010, 2012? Where does the buck stop?
You know, we're actually raising a lot of money from smaller donors, and that's the whole decentralization of politics that's happening in 2014. We'll never outspend the establishment. They have all the money. They have all the friends in Washington. We don't need that anymore because our community on the ground, the boots on the ground, that's how we're going to win these fights.
Matt, quickly, what about the IRS scandal, though? Did that have a chilling effect of whether or not the IRS is targeting certain political organizations?
Oh, it sure did in 2012, and I think there's still that intimidation going on. You notice the reaction from the grassroots pushing against the codification of the IRS rules got them at least to push back until after the 2014 election, but they're going to keep coming after us because we matter in this process.
Jenny Beth, in the Atlanta area, from what you're seeing, is the money still as strong as it once was?
We're doing very well with fundraising, and we have hundreds of thousands of donors. We don't yet at Tea Party Patriot Citizens Fund have huge $100,000 or $1 million donors, but we've got hundred thousands of donors, and those donors are making a difference, and we're spreading our message around the country.
So I believe you both are disagreeing with the fact that Time Magazine seems to think that you're running out of steam. But we'll be checking back with you over the course of the next several months and see where you're going next and what you're up to. Matt, Jenny Beth, great to have you both. Thank you so much.
Thank you.